Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another Hard Count podcast. And today, we just finished up an exciting week 3 of NFL football. Your fantasy games are probably decided by now. Yes, you still have Ravens Chiefs tonight. Should be a really fun one. But we're already onto the week 4 content for you guys. We're starting this week off how we always do. With those guys you need to add to your fantasy teams. They're must-adds, if possible. Those waiver wire pickups. I got 7 guys for you today. 4 wide receivers, 3 running backs. Let's get right into it with our first guy, Justin Jefferson. Last week, we were rushing to replace injuries, Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey. This week, we're rushing to grab the rookies, and Justin Jefferson is the first one that we're going to be talking about today. We saw the Vikings. They were looking terrible through the first couple weeks of the season. They did not win against the Titans, but they looked good. They made it a competition 31-30, and Justin Jefferson was a big reason why. He was a non-factor through those first 2 games, 5 receptions, 6 targets, 70 yards. That was total over 2 games. Broke out in a big way this week, though. Week 3, 7 of 9 targets for 175 yards and a touchdown. And yes, it was a favorable matchup against the Titans, and a 71-yard touchdown really helped those numbers out. But I think it was a very promising performance. He's capable of being an every week starter. If he gets those regular targets, we still saw him get those 9 targets, which is very promising. And I think there is a good chance that he is able to get those regular targets. I mean, the Vikings vacated a lot of targets this offseason. Stephon Diggs leaving to go to the Bills. He's doing awesome there. But Thielen was poised to get a lot of those targets. He was looking good for his fantasy outlook. But Jefferson has come onto the scene as that clear-cut number 2 guy. We weren't sure maybe it was going to be Olabisi Johnson, but Justin Jefferson in the slot has looked very good. He's coming out as that clear-cut number 2 guy, and a clear-cut number 2 guy in this Vikings offense, which did not look so bad last week, is a good thing to be. And another reason I think he can keep it up is because the Vikings have not utilized their tight ends whatsoever this year, and as long as that keeps happening, Jefferson will have good opportunity for targets. And so I like Justin Jefferson to keep up this opportunity. He's well worth stashing ahead of these bye weeks that maybe you can play him if you got a guy that you'd usually play above him on bye. And hopefully we can see this continuation of dominance he flashed last week. And so pick up Justin Jefferson. Next, we've got another rookie wide receiver, and we're going to the NFC. We're staying in the NFC. Brandon Aiyuk of the San Francisco 49ers. He didn't do too much in week 2, his week 2 debut after being injured week 1. 2 catches, 3 targets, 21 yards, no carries. I was a little concerned there for Aiyuk, but his versatility, his talent was on full display in week 3. 5 of 9 targets for 70 yards, 31 rushing yards, a touchdown on 3 carries against the Giants. And yes, it was the Giants, but it was still very promising to see. He was the number 1 guy on that offense, and that was with Nick Mullins as quarterback. Again, 9 targets. That is good for anyone. Deebo Samuel is expected to be out until week 5. You've still got 1 more week where Samuel will not be playing, so Aiyuk will be that wide receiver 1. And then that's another week for Aiyuk to establish himself as that trustworthy contributor in that 49ers offense that I think he will, establish himself as. And grab him now. He's worth a start in week 4 for sure. With Samuel out, he's going to be that wide receiver 1. And even when Samuel comes back, I think he's going to establish himself as that wide receiver 2 in the offense, an offense that is going to be good, especially when Jimmy G comes back. So right now, Aiyuk is definitely a guy to stick on your bench and stash. Hopefully this production keeps up from Aiyuk. We saw 9 targets last week. Hopefully we can see that continue. I think it will decrease a little bit when Samuel comes back, but I think even as the wide receiver 2 in this offense, he can be productive. So, yeah, I like Brandon Aiyuk. Pick him up before it's too late. Now, we're going to our 3rd rookie wide receiver, T. Higgins. I told you guys we're chasing after the rookies this week, and we're doing it. T. Higgins, this was a stacked wide receiver class, and we were waiting to see how the targets would split up in this Bengals offense that had so many weapons. A.J. Green, John Ross, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Joe Mixon. There was just so much in that offense. We had no idea how it was all going to shake out. And with A.J. Green looking like a shell of himself, not looking great. He's still getting targets, but not being productive on those targets whatsoever. John Ross was a healthy inactive. He didn't even play last week. And you know what? We needed to see another receiver other than Tyler Boyd in that offense to step up because the Bengals are so pass happy with Joe Burrow. Tyler Boyd can't do everything, so you got to have another guy step up. And T. Higgins was that guy this week. 5 of 9 targets for 40 yards, 2 touchdowns. And yes, that line is dependent on the touchdowns, but it was very nice to see the 9 targets for T. Higgins. But you can ask yourself, are those touchdown numbers fluky? Sure, 2 touchdowns for anybody is not sustainable per week. But T. Higgins, I think, is a guy that is going to be getting in the red zone more often than most. He's just an absolute unit, 6'4", 216 pounds. He had 6 targets in week 2 also. He's trending upward. I think he can maintain those red zone opportunities. He's going to be getting touchdowns at a higher rate than other guys. So that was a promising week there for T. Higgins. And I think he's going to keep becoming a bigger priority for fantasy owners to pick up. So I liked what I saw from T. Higgins. Hopefully we can see it keep up. Pick him up while he still can. That was our 3rd rookie wide receiver on here. Next, we're going to go with another wide receiver, not a rookie this time, Allen Lazard for the Green Bay Packers. And right now, the Packers are looking like one of the best teams in football right now. They're beating the Saints on Sunday Night Football, 37-30. This offense has been electric. Lazard is a huge benefactor of this. Lazard took advantage of Devontae Adams' absence. 6 of 8 targets for 146 yards and a touchdown on Sunday night. It was very, very promising. He clearly was the wide receiver 1 in that offense without Adams. Valdes-Scantling had 1 catch, 5 yards on 4 targets. It was just a bad performance by Valdes-Scantling. And I think we could see more targets going towards Lazard, even when Adams comes back, because I think he is going to establish himself as that number 2 guy. We saw that last week. And he is the wide receiver 1 right now in an offense that has been elite. He seems to be Rodgers' favorite target right now. And even when Adams returns, he's going to be a solid piece in that offense, the number 2 target for sure. And, either way, even if Adams is back next week, which it's looking like he might be, they're playing a horrible Falcons secondary, which is going to be able to support Lazard in fantasy. So he's a strong flex play next week, so grab him while you still can. And next, we've got a running back, our first running back of the video, Myles Gaskin of the Miami Dolphins. And last week, we saw on Thursday Night Football, the Dolphins utilized Gaskin early and often. He was the workhorse for that Dolphins team. And, he finished with 22 carries, 68 yards, 5 catches for 29 yards. And yes, Jordan Howard did steal those short yardage touchdowns, which was not good to see. It seems like Gaskin really has separated himself as the main guy in that Miami backfield ahead of Jordan Howard and Matt Breida. So, now yes, that Jaguars game would seem like it would be a favorable script for Myles Gaskin because, they blew the Jaguars out. But it didn't. I don't think it's as much as I would have thought because Gaskin had 11 touches in the first quarter, which was interesting to see because you'd expect his carry numbers to go up as the game progressed when they were up by a lot, but it really didn't. His usage was slowed down at the end, and they used Fitzpatrick in that passing game more as the game went on. So I don't think the game script had too much to do with it. I'm not too concerned about the fact that they're playing the Seahawks this week, who the game script is not, or theoretically would not favor Myles Gaskin, but I don't think it didn't seem to matter as much as you would think in the Jaguars game. So we'll see. But the Seahawks have a very bad run defense. That's definitely the biggest weakness of their team. They've been a shootout team all year. A lot of points are going to be on the board. Myles Gaskin is the number 1 guy or the number 1 back in that backfield. And so I think Myles Gaskin's a great addition. Pick him up for your fantasy team as an RB that you can play this week against Seahawks and hopefully in the future as well if his workload can continue to stay up. Next, we've got Jeff Wilson of the San Francisco 49ers, another running back here. Jerick McKinnon was the primary back for the 49ers in week 3, but Wilson saw just about equal work to Jerick McKinnon. Wilson saw 12 carries And yes, he only had 15 yards, but he scored on the ground. He was very productive in the receiving game as well. 3 of his targets, 54 yards, and another score in the air. I think he's going to be valuable in PPR. I think that Shanahan, he knows that Wilson was very productive in the receiving game. He's going to be getting the ball to him in that receiving game. And we know Shanahan loves to mix things up. He loves using multiple backs throughout the course of the game. So I think we will see Wilson continue to get solid usage, and as long as Raheem Mostert is out. So he will be a solid flex play boarding, maybe an RB2 as well. And he's got some good matchups against the Eagles and the Dolphins coming up. So pick up Jeff Wilson while you still can, while you still value, while Jeff Wilson is out, because we know Shanahan in that offense loves to use the backs in all sorts of ways. And Wilson was very productive in the receiving game. So, yeah. Next, and our final guy is Carlos Hyde of the Seattle Seahawks. And this is the one guy that we're putting on here because of injury. I hate to say it, but Chris Carson exited late in in Seattle's win over Dallas, which was a very good game. But Chris Carson exited late. Reports are saying that he's going to be out 2 weeks about. So it's not a major injury, but it's still worth picking up Carlos Hyde because that is a lot of value there for Carlos Hyde. That's a lot of touches that are going to be vacated in that Seattle offense and are all going to be going to Carlos Hyde. This game script is really, really going to favor Carlos Hyde because Seattle's been such a good team. They're going to be up. Carlos Hyde is going to be running the ball, and there's going to be a lot of goal line opportunities. I don't have too much to say about Carlos Hyde. It's always, Chris Carson gets injured. Who's the next man up? Carlos Hyde. So he's the guy you want to pick up. Yes, Chris Carson will be back in a couple of weeks, but that Seattle offense, all those touches in that Seattle offense to go around, it's hard to ignore. I think Carlos Hyde is an RB2 right now. So pick him up, especially play him against this week against the Dolphins. So yeah, those are my week 4 waiver wire pickups. I'm so excited for Chiefs Ravens tonight. Hope you guys are too. I hope you enjoyed the video. Like, comment, subscribe as always. And yeah, thanks so much for listening. Peace.